Welcome to April Defcon. We have my mum, also known as Emma Philpott, doing her new idea, Zero to Cyber Hero. So please welcome Emma Philpott. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to come to one of these. Usually I'm actually banned, so I'm really excited to be here. Yes, so this is very exciting, Zero to Cyber Hero. But first of all, if you don't know, then, so I'm the CEO of ISAME, and ISAME is mainly a certification company. So we do cybersecurity certifications. We are best known for Cyber Essentials because we're the sole delivery partner for the government for Cyber Essentials. And we certify about 3,000 organisations, just over 3,000 organisations actually every month. Of course, that's not really us. That is our wonderful network of certification bodies, one of which at least is here. And we also have our own certification scheme. So we have ISAME cyber assurance. We certify IoT, maritime, so we certify ships. We also work for the CAA and audit airplanes. So anyway, that's what we do to make money. But in our heart, we are working towards being more fair and inclusive. So we really, really want the cybersecurity sector to be fair and inclusive and give everybody an opportunity. So that is reflected in our organisation. So the company is headed by a woman, and more than half of the organisation are female. 45% are neurodivergent. And then you can see 26% have a disability. We just try and make the company as different as possible. We don't want it to be any one thing, because our success is very much because of the diversity of thought. So that's what makes us innovative. And whenever, we're trying to do something and it becomes really difficult, I don't know what to do, I don't know a solution, I put it out to the company and people have the most amazing ideas, because everyone is so different and everybody thinks differently. So anyway, that is ISAME. I am going to talk very briefly about Cyber Essentials because I kind of have to. And the basis of my great idea, our great idea about entry-level jobs, is built on the success of Cyber Essentials. So Cyber Essentials has to be a success for it to work. So the history of Cyber Essentials, there's loads of people that think that this is wrong. But the history is that about 12 years ago, there were some very large companies in the government supply chain that were being absolutely done over. And the NCSC was doing investigations into it. And they realised that they were being done over not because, oh my gosh, the nation state was so clever, but because they weren't doing the basics. It literally was the basics that was allowing them to be breached. And so the government was like, and quite a lot of them had ISO 27000. So the government was like, we don't want it to be up to you whether to accept the risk or not. We want to do our own risk assessment. And out of that, there are some very specific things that we need you to be doing before we're going to let you have our data. And it was that created Cyber Essentials. It was actually the large organisations issue that created Cyber Essentials. So Cyber Essentials is the result of a risk assessment where they've said, to keep our data safe, you need to be doing this. And of course, these are the 5 controls. If you know anything about Cyber Essentials, they are, they sound pretty basic. The beauty of Cyber Essentials is that there are only 5 controls. So whenever you talk to anyone who is a cybersecurity expert, of course, there's more things they want to add. Well, often they say there should be backup, and there's good reasons why it isn't in there. But of course, there should be encryption in there. There should be training, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you talk to every cybersecurity expert in this country, you would end up with a scheme that was massive, and nobody could even read in like an hour. So just 5 controls. That is Cyber Essentials. 2 levels of assurance. The basic level is very basic. There is not much assurance in there, but it's only about £400. We can set the price because it is literally just a verified self-assessment. And it is more about getting companies to read the questions, ask themselves, are we doing these, and try and answer them. It's like more like a training course where you get a certificate for doing it. Cyber Essentials Plus has a much better assurance because someone actually comes along and tests. So there's an internal and external vulnerability scan, there's a technical audit of a representative number of endpoints. So it's much more high assurance. But of course we can't say it's going to be X amount of pounds. And it depends on, how big and complicated your company is. If you're a small organisation, you get included cyber insurance. We've always had this. And when we first had it, people actually went to our competitors instead of us because we had it. Because they thought there must be some kind of catch. Like, there isn't a catch. It's just included if you're a small company. And the reason we include it is because we used to be a small company. And my biggest fear was having some kind of a breach and, on a Friday night and having no one I could ring. So that's why we include it. Cyber Essentials is not perfect. That is not news to anybody. Some of the issues are we don't insist on a split between the advisor and the assessor. So you can actually be a managed service provider providing all the IT infrastructure and do the assessment on that company and give them a certificate. That's allowed in Cyber Essentials. And that's because it's already quite a low assurance level. And we think it is most important that small companies have a trusted expert. And they're not going to hire two trusted experts, one to advise and one to assess. So at this level, it's okay. But of course, a lot of people will be like, oh, they're marking their own homework. It seems to work, but it's maybe not perfect in all cases. Assessors make mistakes. So some assessors will go through a lot of assessments very fast. And of course you make mistakes. You're reading all this stuff, you might miss, oh, that thing's gone out of support, and they miss it. So assessors make mistakes. Some people don't understand the question. So sometimes you'll get an answer that you think is compliant, and it's just because they didn't understand the issue. So there's that. And of course, people can lie. So on the verified self-assessment, you answer all the questions, someone checks them, you get a board member to sign to say the answers are true, but people can lie. So Cyber Essentials is in no means perfect. There are some Cyber Essentials certificates out there that probably shouldn't be there. So it's not a massively high bar of assurance. But despite that, we can look at the insurance data. So when you do Cyber Essentials, you get cyber insurance automatically as a small company. They sell the same policy for loads more money to small companies that don't have cyber insurance, Cyber Essentials. And now, because there's thousands and thousands in each pot, you can compare the two. And it turns out that you are 92% less likely to make a claim if you've got Cyber Essentials. That's a massive number. And even if you say, well, maybe they didn't realise they had the insurance or, other things, 92% is still a very, very large number. So even though there's all these issues with Cyber Essentials, like maybe, you're not asking for backup and, they might lie, etc., etc., it's having a very big effect on whether people get breached or not. And as a backup data, St James's Place is a wealth management network, and they have thousands of little tiny wealth managers in their network. So these are tiny little companies managing very large amounts of wealth. And they were, like all networks you would expect in this industry, they were having cybersecurity breaches. And they asked all their network to have Cyber Essentials Plus within a year. And overnight, they had an 80% reduction in incidents. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, given that it's only 5 controls and a lot of, this is Cyber Essentials Plus, but the insurance is just a verified self-assessment. So the conclusion is large-scale adoption of Cyber Essentials will increase the resilience of the UK. So this isn't to say that me, a little business, is always going to be protected if I have Cyber Essentials. But if you get lots and lots of companies to get Cyber Essentials, their resilience goes up significantly. So this is this is now what the government has realised. And so the government now wants to increase Cyber Essentials very, very significantly. because they've realised that if, so at the moment we only have 36,000 organisations in this country that have cyber essentials. If that was 100,000, 200,000, the resilience would go up of the UK. So this is going to be what happens. They want cyber essentials to increase significantly. The good thing about that is, for us, that is going to mean that the business goes up, that more assessors are going to be needed. There's going to be lots more assessors needed. So at the moment, this is the increase of cyber essentials. It's growing about 20% a year. They want that to go zoom. But at the moment, we've got 900 assessors. We're going to need a lot more assessors. So at the moment as well, most certification bodies are micro or small companies. A micro and small company, you cannot afford to take someone on that then doesn't make money for ages. You just can't afford it. And at the moment, to be a Cyber Essentials assessor, you have to have 3 years experience of working in IT or cybersecurity. So what we're basically saying is, people who work in IT and cybersecurity have had 3 years, they can already get loads of different jobs. And there's not that many of them. And that group is not very diverse. And what we're saying is, you've got to fish in that same little pond to get more Cyber Essentials assessors. And we're already hearing from certification bodies that they're really beginning to struggle to find new assessors. So we are going to change that to be entry-level jobs. And there's a new role. It's going to be called a trainee Cyber Essentials assessor. And you can come into this role and you can, with no experience at all and no qualifications. You can leave school at 16 and go into this role. Or you can be a drama teacher for 30 years and then go into this role. So this takes away all that requirement for you've got to have experience or you've got to have, a master's in something or other. Anyone can go into this. Once you're in it, it's going to be aligned to an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship developed by a really cool company called TDM. And then within 3 years, in less than 3 years, in about 18 months, you should become like a standalone proper Cyber Essentials assessor. It's all right. So it's not quite that easy. There are a couple of steps before you become a trainee Cyber Essentials assessor. It is, it's called an IT aptitude. It's not really aptitude, it's a basic training course. I'm hoping to change its name to Cyber Basics or something like that. But anyway, IT aptitude is the barrier. So it is 2 days of training and half a day assessment. Now what that is the absolute basics of securing endpoints. So the training is in person and it is with kit. So it's 10 people at a time. You'll get a Windows laptop and an Apple laptop. I'm looking at Dave here because he's been running these for the last months. And a mobile device and various things like that. And it is literally assuming no knowledge. We assume you have no knowledge of IT at all. We teach you how to set them up securely, how to get rid of the guest account, how to set up automatic updates. And we teach you the basics of networking. So that's over 2 days. And then you have half a day of an assessment where, again, you're like, here's a laptop. I want you to set it up in this secure way. And that's what we assess, with also multiple choice questions about some of the networking stuff that we can't test. So 2.5 days, if you pass that, you then go on a Cyber Essentials assessor training, which is the same as if you become a Cyber Essentials assessor in the normal route. So 1 day training and assessment. Then you get, that's it, and then you get hired by a certification body. You can get hired by a certification before that, it doesn't matter. But those are the steps you have to get through to become a trainee Cyber Essentials assessor. And then, if you don't have that much experience, you would start an apprenticeship. It's a level 3 apprenticeship based on the ICT, so IC Technician level 3. Is that right, Darren? ICT level 3, but then it has an extra module added into it to make it into Cyber Essentials apprenticeship. if you're really, really experienced already, or you've got like a degree and you already know all that bit, then you can just do the module, the Cyber Essentials module that bolts on. And then after 18 months, you take the Assessor Skills exam, and then you are a Cyber Essentials Assessor. So this is the picture. You come in, you do the IT aptitude training, that's 2 days. Assessment, half a day. Cyber Essentials Assessor training, that's 1 day. And then you become a trainee assessor. And then you can either do the apprenticeship or the little bolt-on bit, and then you become a full assessor. All during that time, you'll be employed and you'll be doing assessments, but under the mentorship of a full assessor. So you'll have a mentor. They will sign off all the assessments that you do. And so we audit a number of assessments from all assessors. If we audit your assessments and they're not great, we will kick the mentor and not you. So, you know, it's pretty brave to be a mentor, but you get all that great work for you. We also have continuous professional development requirements on assessors, and you will have to do that as well as a trainee. So that's more or less it for the trainee assessors. We've got this package of training now that you can do to become a trainee assessor. Hopefully, we've got this massive demand coming for assessors. We are going to, so for most people, they will pay to do this training. But ISAME is hopefully going to pay for about 1 course a month. And we are going to target people who are not represented in cybersecurity already. So people with disabilities, people from the care system, for example, areas of high deprivation, single mums. These are just some of my ideas, but loads of different people. We're also setting up a kind of, well, it's a matching service. It's like a recruitment agency. I've found out how regulated recruitment agencies are, so I'm having a little bit of cold feet, but I'll get over it. So if you are qualified as a trainee Cyber Essentials assessor, we will try and match you with a certification body that is looking to employ people. So yes, that's the plan. So we're going to use the scheme as a pipeline. We're going to bring everyone in, and this will be a way of entering the cybersecurity sector. Once you're in, once you're an assessor, we are then going to give you more training. I can't remember if I've got the slides about it. Yes, here we are. So once you're a Cyber Essentials assessor, you can then get vulnerability scanning training. So this is something that we're developing. Any of you that have seen it will recognize Jess, having recorded a lot of the training. This is me doing vulnerability scan. But anyway, we train people to do vulnerability scanning, and to the extent that hopefully then they will pass the VA Plus exam, which is what you have to do to become a Cyber Essentials Plus assessor. And that is the first step towards pen testing. And then also there are other schemes. So we also run a certified instant exercise scheme. And we have another entry-level training course that we are launching, which is people who don't have any experience in cybersecurity, but they can go into starting facilitating instant exercising. So we're trying to get entry-level jobs and then career paths with jobs through NCSC assured schemes, because that's what's driving the market. That's what we're trying to do. Oh, yes. And this is a picture of a career path. So you come in at the top, you learn basic endpoint knowledge, you become a trainee Cyber Essentials assessor, and then assessor, blah, blah, Cyber Essentials Plus assessor, lead assessor. You can then be a certification body for Cyber Essentials Pathways, where you need to have somebody in your organization as a team lead, one of the, CSTL or one of the CREST team lead qualifications. And then, of course, you have the whole instant response aspect, which we're going to try and help you develop training to go into. There's loads you can do, but we're focusing on the entry point at the moment because that seems to be the thing that's broken. So if Cyber Essentials demand grows by 100%, and that is, the aim is a lot more than that. I don't know whether it'll happen. If it grows by 100%, and we've got 900 assessors now, we might need nearly 900 more. That's a lot. We've got 400 Cyber Essentials Plus assessors. potentially we need 400 more. So we can't just fill all these spaces with people who are already in IT and cybersecurity. We need to bring in more people, but also for the good of cybersecurity in this country, we need the cybersecurity sector to be more diverse, because we will be more resilient as a sector if we're more diverse. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions? Evie first.
Emma, at what stage is the scheme at the moment in terms of training, recruitment, and assigning new trainees to CVs?
Where are we? Yeah. We've just finished the pilot. I submitted the report yesterday, and I'm getting good vibes. So hopefully, I can't say that it's all agreed at the moment, because it hasn't been formally agreed. But if it were agreed, I would like to think that we would launch it in the second week of May.
Wow, that's really cool.
The recruitment bit would take a little bit longer because we've got to work out contracts and stuff.
That's great. Ryan,
do you have a question?
Oh, yes. Firstly, I don't think you're brilliant in everything you're doing for bringing a more diverse and holistic tech community. I'm just wondering, what's the, I guess you could say, like the actual day-to-day difference in being an assessor versus a more conventional cybersecurity route in terms of like, what you're actually doing on the day-to-day? Is it in a very similar sphere, or is the actual work that you end up doing feel different? I guess you could say, because it sounds like it can potentially help with the way.
So it completely depends on the certification body. So some certification bodies, they do other stuff is their main thing, and then they just do a bit of Cyber Essentials like as an added thing. So probably most of your time would be spent doing something else. You get some certification bodies that really focus on Cyber Essentials assessments, and that would be, doing assessments, which might get like a bit monotonous after a while, but a lot of those organisations do consultancy to help people get through Cyber Essentials. And so it would be visiting clients, premises, talking to them about what they've got, going, oh, don't worry, we can fix it. And then helping them put the controls in place and then doing the assessments. So I don't think because of the money involved, I don't think any certification bodies just do assessments. They often mix it with consultancy or other things.
Awesome. Yours.
How is it that you're going to advertise these new vacancies and roles? Because I know maybe one person wants to be involved in the cybersecurity sector.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is try and create this recruitment matching thing. So certification bodies might just advertise. So they're all over the country. We've got 360 certification bodies. They literally are all over the country and in Wales and Scotland and Jersey. So they will advertise if they're trying to hire somebody. We will contact groups for our training, our free training, and engage with people that way. But hopefully people who become qualified, through the 2 days training and the half-a-day assessment, will be able to just contact us and say they're looking for a job. And we'll be able to contact them if there's relevant work that comes in. But it's not just that. There is a desire from NCSC. So NCSC is the National Cybersecurity Centre, part of GCHQ, government. They would actually like a lot of normal IT jobs to go through this first bit. So so maybe you work in, I don't know, PC World or Currys or as a starting job, they would like them to understand how to secure endpoints. So if you go in and buy a computer, they'd like the person selling it to at least know how to say, this is how you remove the guest account and blah, blah, blah. So at the moment, this is a route in to becoming a Cyber Essentials assessor. Potentially in the future, it could be a route into lots of other things as well. It could be, but that's not going to be for a while. I mean, it may never be, but there is a desire that it security becomes more of a thing.
In touch via an email or
So on our website, mid-May, there'll be more information about this. But what I can do is I can share it with the Defcon community, and then you'll get the exclusive.
Yeah, sounds good. Yes?
How does an organisation become a certification body?
So to become a certification body, you have to have somebody who can be a full assessor to start with. So you have to have, at the moment, 3 years experience in IT or cybersecurity and pass the assessor skills exam, go on the assessor training course, and then even if you've just started up yourself, you can become a certification body. Your organisation has to have Cyber Essentials, ISAME Cyber Assurance, and the quality principles. So the problem is that costs to get those qualifications. They're right for a one-person band can get it, no problem, but the costs build up. So that's the issue. Then really you're meant to go out and find your own clients to do Cyber Essentials. That can sometimes be difficult when you're new to the industry. We have something called a central pool. So if an organisation applies for Cyber Essentials on our website, we distribute that to certification bodies that want them on a rota basis. So we can help people finding clients like that.
Very good. We have time for one more question. Is there anyone who wants to have a final question? No?
Too much pressure.
Too much pressure, that's fine. Okay, well, thank you so much, Emma Philpott /Mum. It's very helpful.
You're very welcome.